Alright, welcome back to WMA Scene Now with your host Chuck Stevenson, and welcome to episode number 74 of the WMA Scene Report, regular show where I go over everything going on within the world of the women's divisions of mixed martial arts. Tonight, One Championship has announced a women's Atomweight Grand Prix for next year. We're going to go over some of the fighters who are likely to be in it. But first, let's start where we always start, with the past weekend's results. So first up, we're going last Thursday for Bellator 247 in Milan, Italy. First up, they had a rare atomweight bout. Monica Choklikova defeated Jade Durand via submission due to scorpion crunch, 3 minutes 50 seconds of the second round. Choklikova climbed to 1-0. Durand fell to 0-1. So this fight was typical of what happens when you take two fighters who have fought their entire careers in one specific aspect and then put them into MMA where they have to fight in every aspect. These fighters were very good in the stand-up. When it got to the ground, not so much. The scorpion crunch that Choklikova submitted Durand with is really like a beginner submission that you would not expect to see in MMA and probably won't ever again, but still is very nice. Also, Choklikova approved of my review of this fight, so thank you for watching, Monica. Next up, still on the prelims, up at Flyweight, Mandy Monster Bohm defeated Greet Pain-Apple Ekout via unanimous decision. Bohm climbed to 7-0. Ekout fell to 5-4. You know, Bohm got taken down, I think, towards the beginning of the first round, if I remember correctly. But then from then on, she just completely took over every aspect of this fight. Ekout just had one solid plan in mind and refused to deviate from it, and it really cost her. If she could not get the takedown, she was lost. And Bohm denied, all but one of her takedowns. So it was a long night for Greet Ekout. Then in the main event, moved to the main event at the last minute as well. Denise at Flyweight. Denise Kilholtz defeated Kate Jackson via KO with the left hook and then ground and pound at 43 seconds of the first round. Kilholtz climbed to 6-2. Jackson fell to 11-5. You know, they call Denise Kilholtz Miss Dynamite for a reason, and her hands are why. I mean, 43 seconds. She got Jackson with that left hook, and you pretty much knew Jackson was done from then on. Like, I mean, the ground and pound was necessary to emphasize the finish, but you could pretty much tell she was done after that left hook. Very nice finish for Kilholtz, who is now moved into serious title contention status. Then on Saturday, another Bellator event, the Euro Series 9, Gallagher versus Eleanor, had one ladies fight in the Featherweight division. Sinead Cavanaugh defeated Katarina Leonard via unanimous decision. Cavanaugh moved to 7-4. Leonard fell to 7-3. You know, I got to give Cavanaugh credit. I've never been a fan of hers, but she has shown some steady improvement lately. She was able to use her reach and her boxing to just outpoint Leonard, and Leonard just had no answer for Cavanaugh's boxing. Then we move to UFC Fight Night Holm versus Donna, also on Saturday night. 3 bouts in the ladies' divisions. First up, at Strawweight, Loma Lookboonmee defeated Jinyu Fry via unanimous decision. Lookboonmee climbed to 5-2. Fry fell to 9-6. Lookboonmee just put a Muay Thai clinic on Fry. Took Fry till the third round to figure out, I should try to take this girl down. And once she did, couldn't hold her there for very long, and that was it. I mean, it was just a Muay Thai clinic by Lookboonmee on Fry, who just, I don't know what it is with her. She cannot change. She just moves at one pace the entire fight. Really disappointed with Fry, but very nice performance for Lookboonmee. Then up on the main card, at Bantamweight, Germaine de Randami defeated Juliana Pena via submission due to guillotine choke. 3 minutes, 25 seconds of the third round. De Randami climbed to 10-4. Pena fell to 9-4. Very nice performance very nice finish for GDR, the Iron Lady. I had her ahead after the first round. Pena took over in the second round. It came down to that third round, and GDR showed some new tricks up her sleeves. Pulled out that guillotine. Very nice job finishing up Pena. Choked her unconscious. Very nice finish for GDR. Then in the main event at Bantamweight, Holm defeated Irene Aldana via unanimous decision. Holm climbed to 14-5. Aldana fell to 12-6. Domination by Holm. I mean, she was just in control of every aspect of this fight for every minute. Aldana just could not get going. She had no answer and often fell into, playing Holm's game entirely. Now, it has come out that Aldana actually has a fractured foot. Maybe that played a part in it. She said it was bothering her the entire fight. But to me, that's no excuse for circling right into Holm's kicks for the entirety of the fourth round. As an Aldana fan, I was very disappointed in that bout. Okay, so that was it for this past weekend's fight results. Let's move on into the news. Not a whole lot going on this past week, but let's get into it. First up, Bea Malecki is out of her bantamweight bout against Tracy Cortez in the UFC on October 10th. That's this coming weekend. The UFC has signed Stephanie Egger to replace her, and we'll talk about that fight more in a little bit. Shooto 2020 Volume 7, November 23rd at Korakuen Hall, has signed a minus 51 kilogram bout between Megumi Sugimoto and Satomi Takano. Sugimoto was in the Shooto Super Atomweight tournament. She was one of the finalists. Takano is well-traveled veteran in the Japanese WMMA scene, so should make for a good fight. Flyweight Mara Romero Barella has been released by the UFC. No surprise there, and not disappointed in the least. She just cannot put it together. I mean, twice. 2 fights in a row, same submission, same manner. So, honestly, it's like almost good riddance at this point. UFC Fight Night on December 5th has booked a flyweight bout between Tyler Santos and Marina Moroz. Should be a good one for the more towards the bottom end of the flyweight division. One Championship has announced that they will hold an atomweight 115-pound Grand Prix in 2021. The official dates and participants are to be announced, although the first round is tentatively scheduled for January. And we're going to go over the possible participants of that later on in the show. UFC veteran Jessica Aguilar, UFC, Bellator, and World Series of Fighting veteran Jessica Aguilar has signed with Extreme Fighting Championships. Her debut is set for November 11th with an opponent to be announced. So I believe Jag has said that she's going to make like one more run, like a few more fights left before she retires. So she signed with, found a home with XFC. Let's see, One Championship Into the Matrix, October 30th in Bangkok, is going to have a flyweight title bout. Defending champ Xiong Jinan will face Tiffany Teo for the second time. These two fought 2 or 3 years ago, I believe in 2018, for the inaugural championship, with Xiong winning by 4th round TKO. And then ARC3, October 17th in Seoul, South Korea, has a strawweight bout between Shin Yu-jin coming in 2-0. She's taking on Kim Yu-jung, who's making her debut. Now, this bout was supposed to go down back in August, but the event itself was pushed back due to a resurgence of COVID outbreaks in Seoul. So the event itself, the whole event got pushed back, so it's now going to take place October 17th, so next weekend. And then finally in the news, CES number 61 is going down next Wednesday, October 14th in Rhode Island, and they have a bantamweight bout. Alexandra Ballot coming in 1-0. She's taking on Bridget Chase coming in 1-1. So nice to see a bantamweight bout getting booked in the regional scenes, and CES is one of the promotions that is on UFC Fight Pass, so that should be available live on UFC Fight Pass on October 14th. So that's it for the news this week. So let's talk about rankings updates. Well, There's nothing going on in one championship yet. Probably expect those rankings to change once the Atomweight championship goes on in January. The Atomweight Grand Prix. For UFC, however, there are some changes in Bantamweight. Both Raquel Pennington and Irene Aldana have moved up one spot each, prompting Juliana Pena to be moved down 2 spots in turn. This to me is like a weird move because, yes, Pena just lost and she just got finished. Aldana just lost as well, and I believe Pennington herself is coming off a loss. Let me check here. Come on. Okay, Pennington's coming off a win over Marion Renault back in June. Okay, but here's the thing that's weird about this move in the rankings. Yes, Pena got finished, and she hasn't been as active lately, but Aldana lost, and Pena both lost to fighters ranked higher than them. And no other fighters near them in rankings have done anything to justify moving up or down either. So why move Pena down 2, which would bring Pennington and Aldana up 1? Because Aldana just lost. It's just a weird move to me. And who knows? It might change within a week anyway, because we've seen moves in the rankings that make no explanation either. Also at Strawweight, and I'm not sure when this move occurred because I haven't been checking every week because I haven't been doing the show quite every week. But at some point, Carla Esparza moved up 1 spot past Claudia Gadelha from 7 to 6, and now Gadelha is down at number 7. That's a bit of a weird move too, and I have some ideas why, but I don't want to go that deep into conspiracy theories. But it involves Esparza's next opponent, and moving the winner of that bout 1 step closer to contender status. Anyway, that's it for the rankings updates. So let's move into the weekend preview. First up, in Spain on Saturday, AFL is going to be having their all-women's event, Valkyries. Now, I'm not going to go over this event on this video because I dedicated a whole video to it, and it's not worth... Honestly, it's worth talking about, but not repeating everything I already did. So please go check that video out. That's going to be on Saturday, and it's on Fight.tv pay-per-view. Also on Saturday is going to be KSW number 55. That should be on Fight TV as well for pay-per-view. There's going to be 1 ladies bout in the strawweight division. Sylvia Juskovic coming in at 9-5, taking on Karolina Wojcik, coming in at 6-2. Juskovic coming in off of 2 straight wins over Yulia Sachkov 2 years, 9 months ago. Wow. And then a split decision over Liza Kron 2.5 years ago. So Juskovic returning to fighting for the first time in a while. Wojcik coming in off a win over Maria Ribeiro via split decision at Brave 10 months ago. Before that, had a loss to Evelina Wozniak via split decision. Let's see. Juskovic is 1 year the elder, 26 years to Wojcik's 25. Juskovic is going to be 1 inch taller, 5 feet 3 inches, 160 centimeters, to Wojcik's 5 feet 2 inches, 157 centimeters. Looks like Wojcik, however, has a ever so slight reach advantage, 62.2 inches, 158 centimeters, to Juskovic's 61.8 inches, 157 centimeters. So I didn't do any research on this one, haven't had time. I want to talk about this fight because if you haven't seen Karolina Wojcik yet, you really should. She is a very fun, very exciting fighter to watch. Her nickname is Polish Assassin. And while the name Pitbull is way overused in MMA, I would not be disappointed if her name was Pitbull because she really is a little pitbull. She is in your face. She is very fast moving. She's, kind of small for strawweight, but very fast. very much worth watching. Don't know how she'll perform against Juskovic, and honestly don't know how Juskovic is going to perform, 2.5 years out of the game. But it's pole versus pole, should make for a very good strawweight bout. So I'm not going to be making a pick on that one. Also Saturday, Bellator 248 going down in Paris, France. First major MMA event to occur in France. They're going to have a flyweight bout. Maggie Burchell taking on Lucy Bertode. Burchell coming in the much more experienced fighter, 10-4-1 to Bertode's 2-2. Now Burchell is coming off a loss to a year ago, preceded by a win a year and 10 months ago via rear naked choke submission. Bertode is coming off a win 10 months ago via decision. Before that, though, she suffered 2 straight losses. They're a year and a half and then 2.5 years ago. Let's see, Bertode is the elder by 4 years, 35 to Burchell's 31 years. Bertode is slightly taller, 5 feet 6 inches, 168 centimeters to Burchell's 5 feet 5 inches, 164 centimeters. Bertode has a reach advantage as well, 65.5 inches, 166 centimeters to Burchell's 63.8 inches, 162 centimeters. I don't have a pick on this one either. I just don't know enough about either of these two. You kind of want to favor Burchell because she is the much more experienced fighter. She's had mixed results lately, although so has Bertode. Yeah, I'm not comfortable making a pick on this one, though. I do like, however, that for its first event in France, Bellator managed to sign and book 2 French women against each other. I think that'll be very nice for the hometown crowd, which there's not going to be a hometown crowd anyway, probably. And then finally, on Saturday, UFC Fight Night, Marias versus Sandhagen has one ladies bout in the Bantamweight division. Tracy Cortez coming in 7-1, taking on Stephanie Edgar coming in 5-1. Cortez on a very nice win streak. Last bout came against Vanessa Mello 10 months ago via decision. Edgar coming in off of a win over Sinya Kiefer via rear naked choke submission just a month ago. So she's been staying active. Well, before that she had a fight a year ago against King Reina in Ryzen. Edgar's the elder fighter, 32 years to Cortez's 26. Edgar's going to have a height advantage, 5 feet 8 inches, 172 centimeters to Cortez's 5 feet 5 inches, 165 centimeters. I don't have a reach listed for Edgar. Cortez is listed at 67 inches, 170 centimeters. Probably going to be a reach advantage for Edgar as well. So Edgar took this fight on like a little more than a week's notice. She is mostly a judoka. Doesn't have a whole lot of good wins to her credit. Her lone loss came in Invicta via split decision almost 4 years ago. Hasn't been super active since then, has only had 3 fights since then. Cortez, though, has been, I think all of her career comes in that time. So she's been very active and slowly building up her resume. Got to go with Cortez on this one. She's been more active. She has been, fighting more often. She is better prepared for this particular bout, being that she was originally scheduled for this, whereas Edgar is coming in on short notice. However, Edgar has the advantage in that she's coming into this bout with really nothing to lose. I do wonder if she'll be able to make weight for this bout. She mostly has fought at featherweight. She will have a size advantage, though, against the former flyweight Cortez. But I'm going with Cortez. She's coming in better prepared. I think she's the rightful favorite here. And it looks like she is the -260 moderate favorite according to Tapology. So we're going to go with Tracy Cortez to win this one. So that is it for this weekend's upcoming fights. So tonight I wanted to talk about One championship has announced that they're going to be holding an Atomweight Grand Prix starting next January. And by Atomweight, I mean Atomweight because in one championship it's 115 pounds. And you could argue, well, that means due to their hydration clause, it's what... I'm not going to get into that. We'll just call it the Atomweight Grand Prix, but I'm also going to acknowledge that it is at 115 pounds, so it's really a strawweight Grand Prix. The current champion is not going to be participating because she is out due to pregnancy. Anyway, I wanted to talk tonight about the fighters that are most likely to participate. Now, don't have any real details who's going to be participating or how many fighters are going to be participating. I have, I think, I have a list of 10 fighters that are most likely, plus one who could be put in there, but you never know. Some of these fighters are more likely than others. I included the top 5 of the current one championship women's rankings. So let's start there. First up, Denise the Menace Zamboanga. Denise comes in with a record of 8-0. She's undefeated. She's fighting out of the Philippines. She is 23 years old. She stands 5 feet 2 inches, 158 centimeters tall. Now, she has already confirmed that she's going to be in it. I'll be honest, I discounted Zamboanga, their first couple fights in one championship, and I was wrong both times. I counted her out against Gian Ragusa, and I counted her out against May Yamaguchi. That fight against May Yamaguchi, she defeated May more solidly than I think any fighter has in years, including the champion, Angela Lee. She has rightfully earned her #1 ranking spot in one championship with that win alone. I think she is definitely a heavy favorite to win going into this tournament, but we'll have to see. Next up, we're going to the #2 ranked fighter in one championship, even though she's only had one fight there. Meng Bo. Meng Bo has a record of 14-5. She fights out of China. I'm not sure of her age. She stands 5 feet 4 inches, 162 centimeters tall. Most of her fights came in Glory of Heroes and WLF and like various Chinese promotions. Meng Bo is in one championship almost entirely because she is the only fighter to have a win over the current UFC strawweight champion, Zhang Weili. That fight took place back in November of 2013. She has fought and defeated Laura Ballin in one championship last November. She was supposed to fight May Yamaguchi on like 3 separate occasions, and those bouts were canceled for various reasons. First was, one time was an injury. The second time was supposed to be back in February. I think she withdrew because of the COOF. But I haven't watched too many of her fights, but she's mostly a can crusher. Next up, the #3 ranked one championship fighter, Lin Yejin. She comes in with a record of 14-2-1. She fights out of China as well. She is 26 years old. She stands 5 feet 6 inches, 167 centimeters tall. Lin has also only had one fight in one championship. She defeated Jo Marie Torres via triangle submission last year in March and hasn't fought since then. She mostly fought in Kunlun fight and Chin U Min. She did have a couple of fights in Road FC back in 2016. That's a lot of ring rust to bring into a Grand Prix, almost 2 years absent from the sport. Next up, we have the most experienced fighter that is going to be in this tournament by far. By far. May Yamaguchi. May comes in with a record of 21-12-1. She is 37 years old, so she'll definitely be the oldest fighter in the tournament as well. She stands 5 feet nothing, so also going to be one of the shorter fighters in the tournament as well. She's coming off a loss to Denise Zamboanga back in February of this year. Before that, she had a 4-fight win streak going since her last fight against Angela Lee back in May of 2018. So they were gearing her up for a 3rd fight against Angela Lee, I believe. Had she beaten Zamboanga, it would have been hard to deny it. Be interesting to see if May still has it. Some people are alleging that, she's over the hill because of her age. Maybe, maybe not. It's hard to say. Anyway, moving down to the number 5th ranked fighter in One Championship's Atomweight rankings, Stamp Fairtex. Stamp comes in with a record of 5-0. She is 23 years old. She stands 5 feet 2 inches, 157 centimeters tall. Stamp could be an early favorite in this tournament, based mostly on her stand-up skills. We haven't really gotten to see too much of her ground game. She hasn't been in there against anyone who, could really threaten her on the ground. She is coming off a win over Sinisa Sreeson back in July of this year. Defeated her via TKO in the first round. That was like a gimme fight. Before that, she fought Pooja Tomar and defeated her via ground and pound in the first round as well. Yeah, Stamp could be a early favorite. It'll be interesting to see how she gets matched up, though. Probably favorably, because she's a One Championship favorite. So, yeah. Moving along, this time we're leaving the rankings because One Championship's rankings only go with the top 5. We're going to a Japanese fighter, Itsuki, strong heart fighter Hirata Itsuki. She comes in with a record, according to Topology, of 3-0. Some would say her record is 6-0 because of her time on Fighting Agent War Season 3. Depending on where you go for her record, they list those as pro fights. Topology doesn't, and I prefer Topology for a lot of things. See, Hirata comes in at 21 years old. She fights out of Japan. She stands 5 feet 2 inches, 157 centimeters tall. Hirata is coming in with a lot of momentum and a lot of confidence. She had a very nice win over Nyreen Crowley back in February. She comes in undefeated, which owes a lot to that confidence. And, she has a very nice ground game. Now, she is a specialist fighter and a bit one-dimensional. She is a lot like the strawweight division's Ayaka Miura in that she likes to get to the inside, get the clinch, use a throw, and then likes, clinch-based, upper body style submissions. I mean, all but her last win have come by submission. Armbar, rear naked choke, arm lock, Americana, armbar. So she's all about those judo-style upper body submissions. Hasn't really been tested too much in the stand-up. Could be a weakness. Next up, we're going to another specialist fighter. Ritu, the Indian Tigris Fogat. Now, she comes in at 2-0. She fights out of India. She is 26 years old. She stands 5 feet 1 inches, 156 centimeters tall. Now, she hasn't faced any real opposition yet. She is someone that One Championship is grooming to move into the Indian market. She is famous there. She comes from a famous family of wrestlers, and that's her specialty. She is a wrestler. Her first fight, she defeated a late notice replacement via TKO in the first round, I believe from ground and pound, and then is coming off a unanimous decision win over a Taiwanese fighter back in February. Seems like kind of a long shot to be in this tournament based off of her record alone. However, she is another One Championship favorite. Like I said, they are grooming her to be their entry into the Indian market. Very strong wrestling too. And another fighter who her stand-up is yet to be tested properly. Now we're going into fighters who are maybe not as likely to be picked for the tournament, but still have a strong chance of getting in there. Next up, Priscilla Hertati Lambangal. She has a record of 7-4. She fights out of Indonesia. Tati is 32 years old. She stands 5 feet 1 inches, 155 centimeters tall. Now she is coming in on a 2-fight run over Nusre Pove, and then has a decision win over Bozena Antoniar, both by unanimous decision. She has a mixed record in one championship. You know, she took 2 losses to start her career, went 3 in a row, took a loss, won 2, took a loss, and then won another 2. She's fairly steady. She's more of a striker. I believe she's a wushu stylist. But, you know, she, like I said, she's been very steady. She's been with one championship her entire pro career for the last 3 years. I can definitely see one championship putting her in there. Next up, Gian Ragusa out of Malaysia. The Shadow Cat has a record of 5-2. Like I said, she fights out of Malaysia. She stands 5 feet 2 inches tall, 157 centimeters. Now, Ragusa is coming off a loss last December to Denise Zamboanga. Hasn't fought since then. Before that, she had a win over Jo Marie Torres via triangle choke. Ragusa was kind of being groomed to be the next, you know, Malaysian women's MMA star for one championship. They're headquartered in Singapore, which geographically is, you know, shares landmass with Malaysia. So they try to keep, you know, a strong presence in the Malaysian market. They have a lot of events there. Ragusa's not a bad fighter, so I see no problem with her getting in there as well. And then finally on the list also is Bozena Tonto Antoniar. Comes in with a record of 3-2. She fights out of Myanmar. She stands 5 feet 1 inch, 155 centimeters. She is coming off a loss to Priscilla Lambangal back in October of last year via unanimous decision. Before that, had a win, a split decision win over B. Nguyen. She hasn't been as active lately. 2 fights in 2019 and 3 fights in 2019. Excuse me. So really, it was the goof keeping her active this year. I picked Antoniar for this list because, being from Myanmar, you know, one championship, they like to make sure that their tournament brackets have a wide variety of fighters, and that, you know, a lot of Asia is well represented, and that's why I put her on there. Also because she's a stand-up fighter, and one championships love stand-up fighters. So that's why I included Antoniar. Okay, so there you have it. A list of the most likely fighters going to be in the One Championship Atomweight World Grand Prix. Now, as I said, this is slated to start in January. It'll take place probably over 3 or 4 events. The winner is most likely to face the current champ, Angela Lee, whenever she finally shows her head again. She's currently pregnant, expects to come back late next year sometime. So I think they could make a pretty decent field just based on these fighters alone. Now, depending on how many fighters they'll have in it, they will have to add more, or they'd have to take a few off. But I think this list is definitely the most likely fighters to get on there. Let me know your thoughts on it in the comments down below, or anything else I discussed tonight. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Of course, if you liked the video, please give it a like and share it as well. That's how the word on the channel spreads. And while you're at it, go ahead and subscribe to WMMAC Now, the most complete women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.